Welcome to another episode of All Lights Film Magazine. Let's have a look at the movie screened on the 6th day of the Karlovy Film Festival. A Ukrainian woman named Rita arrives in Petersburg to become a well-paid surrogate mother for a gay couple because she needs a large sum of money to pay for her daughter's leukemia treatments. With admirable tenacity, the 30-something widow confronts the numerous complications which fate capriciously places in her path. Igor Voloshin's latest feature film confirms his reputation as the least predictable filmmaker of his generation. After the postmodern collage of orgastic images he presented in I Am, Voloshin here investigates life in Russia via classic melodrama. But beyond merely trying to touch us with the story of a mother fighting to save her daughter's life, the director is interested in probing the state of mind of a woman caught in the unwelcoming environment of modern-day Russia. Her dogged determination is her only tool for achieving a goal for which she is willing to do anything. In implementing his vision, Voloshin relied on a star, Olga Simonova, whose uncommon performance highlights the originality of a generic scenario as seen through the filter of realism. Ari and Una, two 15-year-old girls, two dysfunctional families. Absolute opposites and yet somehow similar. No one listens, no one hears. Ari feels she is misunderstood and compensates for this by having sex with unknown men. Una expresses the pain over her beloved father's suicide through self-mutilation and morbid drawings. Opposites attract. Ari is a blonde who paints herself up like a canary. Una loves things as black as night. Their unlikely friendship helps them to survive the hypocrisy of their families. Ari finally gains some kind of self-respect and Una learns to give vent to her pain. Then something happens that threatens their friendship at its very roots. The scope of the debuting director's creative interest is evident both in the mix of cinematic devices that enrich the narration as well as in the artistic stylization which directly references her grounding in comics. After living with her family for 10 years in Switzerland, 13-year-old Marta returns to the region of her birth, Reggio Calabria. Life in southern Italy is a novelty for her, and among the other kids, the fragile girl seems as if from another world. She closely observes all that goes around her, especially when she begins attending a preparatory class for the confirmation in a Catholic church. She acknowledges her mother's argument that she could meet new friends at catechism classes, but she is unable to overcome the feeling that there is a certain discrepancy between what they teach about the seven sacraments, so important for the life of a Christian and daily practice. Don Mario runs a parish more like a businessman than a Catholic priest, and Santa, who teaches the class, doesn't command respect either. Regardless, Marta gets ready for the ceremony to receive the seal of the Holy Spirit, diligently memorizing the phrases she is going to have to recite and, like other kids, looking forward to the new crucifixes that Don Mario is bringing them. Then the day comes when she understands that she must seek her path in life by herself.
E Gesù che urla, tu come te lo immagini?
Buono.
Con gli occhi azzurri? Che ti vuole abbracciare?
Sì.
This This mockumentary follows 4 puppeteers competing for a spot on the children's television program Sunflower Hour. None of the candidates leads a boring life. Childlike David suffers from the inferiority complex after the bullying he endured from his older brothers. Leslie tries in vain to win the respect and attention of his father, an evangelical clergyman. Satan's pawn is going through the toughest phase of a rebellious post-pubescent life. And the tough guy Shamus is a sham Irishman who has been treating his puppet like a real person ever since his dad left years ago. After the documentarists find out that the producers of the children's program once worked in the porn industry, it becomes clear that none of its creators should be making a show for kids. Infectious humor, eccentric characters, and blatant exaggeration in a movie that posits a clear thesis. Certain people should not be allowed to entertain and educate our children.
God, you hope to eradicate this disease.
Well, it seems you have no choice in the matter now, does it?
Fucking life out of you, you little cocksucker! Shamus! Move! Who are you, little shit? Dad!
I nearly had a heart attack. I knew you were all right. Come here. That's right. It's time for the Sunflower Hour.
Who doesn't know Saint Nicholas? The one-time bishop precursor of Santa Claus survives in the European culture as a symbol of goodness. But only a handful of the initiated know about the secret closely guarded by church and government. Saint Nicholas is in fact a heretic and mass murderer. Moreover, every 5th of December when the moon is full, an ancient curse causes him to rise from the grave with his infernal minions and wreak bloody havoc. This over-the-top action horror film, which became Holland's greatest box office success, employs a teeny slasher aesthetic to turn the beloved pre-Christmas legend on its head. Pulp King Dig Mas's fresh approach subverts the core of the slasher movie through a brazen disruption of its generic scheme, and then he lets a narration run wild. When the disfigured St. Nicholas's demonic spree moves beyond a core group of teenagers to the city at large, the film becomes a more circumspect B-quality action-adventure full of chases and shootouts.
Wie de koep krijgt, wie de hart. Oh, wat pret zal het zijn te spelen. Met die bonte
Sinterklaas.
harlekijn.
Mijn naam is Sinterklaas. Mijn naam is Sinterklaas. Mijn naam is Sinterklaas. Elk jaar ben ik langs met een boot vol cadeautjes, was getekend Sinterklaas.
Goed, ga jij eens kijken bij de varkens. Goed, hoor je me?
Trek je wel even een warme jas aan, jongen?
Waar moet Sinterklaas je cadeautje nou in stoppen?
Hij wacht maar even tot ik terug ben.
En schiet een beetje op, ja?
That's all we have in this edition of All Lights. We'll be back shortly with more films screened at the 6th day of the festival. Stay tuned.